All right. So, today is July 15th, 2020.
How many
Some good things have happened. Yesterday, I got a response from the portable building job. They said that they're still looking to fill the position, and when would I be available if they decided to go forward with the hiring process. And I said, as soon as you hire me, I'll give my current employer 2 weeks notice. Like, I need that verification. I'm not just going to like roll the dice, you know. Like, you have to hire me first. That's the deal. You know, less money is better than no money and burning bridges. You know, and I really don't want to burn bridges with this job. I think it's already kind of iffy that I'm already moving on after. God, this is like my 4th week. Yeah, this will be week 4, so I've only been there a month. You know, I'm not just gonna just drop them, you know, especially because, like, even though they don't really pay me well, they're not paying me embarrassingly low, you know. They're not paying me insultingly low. Though, I mean, it could be considered that, but it's just the job doesn't. I don't think the job demands that much, right? So therefore, because the job doesn't demand that much, it doesn't require that much in terms of compensation. Right? So it's understandable. But yeah, I mean, once I get all my bills paid off, and if I can get this streaming thing profitable, make it like a part-time gig, I'd love to go back to the bread job. Do a bread job and then stream part-time. Full-time bread job, part-time stream. That'd be great. The portable building delivery job is probably going to take up a lot of my time, though, if it goes through. So, like, the only time I'll be able to stream is, or even play, really, will probably be on the weekends. Which, I mean, it's fine by me. I wasn't getting paid, you know? You gotta grow up sometime. And I've been putting off developing a career for a decade. At least. A little over a decade. Probably 15 years I've been putting it off, you know? Keep thinking, oh, I don't want to do that for a living. Oh, I don't want to do that for a living. And now I'm not doing anything for a living. You know, really. You know, like I keep just floating from job to job to job without ever actually gaining any marketable skills. I've got plenty of experience, just not a lot of skills, you know. And I need to start fixing that. But yeah, the team, you know, today is second verse, same as the first verse. Just gonna be grinding out dailies. Should take about 4 hours. I think I'm gonna do them all solo today, though. Just so I get drops, because that's the point, really. I'm not really getting that much experience. If I'm not getting drops, I'm not really ranking up the FC, so I see start doing these solo and just needing and greeting on all the drops. And then tomorrow I really have to not watch YouTube, and I really need to edit and start clearing out my hard drive, which was my initial plan. My initial plan was to clear out one of my terabyte hard drives so I could use it as a Linux Linux storage device. Because I've got an operating system with Final Fantasy XIV on Linux. I've got a Arch Linux and Final Fantasy XIV on OneDrive. I just need a storage bin, you know, to be able to play, and then I could play 14 on Linux. With Valve's Proton, like, it's almost exactly perfect. It's almost a 1-for-1. It's almost perfect. There's a couple of glitches here and there, but when it comes to like gameplay, there's literally no difference. The only instances I've noticed where the game doesn't run well is during you can't play certain like opening cutscenes, and you can't. No, that's about it. And then like that Shadowbringers cutscene, for some reason, like skips. Hey, Seno, how's it going, man? Gotta check my retainers. But otherwise, the game works perfectly fine on Linux. Oh, she's level 60 now. Damn, I gotta change her gear. Nothing much. Just woke up from my nap, so about to continue some BAM dungeons. Right on, dude. Sounds good, dude. How's life unemployed? That's 60. Don't I have... That's 60. Don't I have a weapon that's 60 though? Maybe I don't. $80. 50. Maybe I just have to go rebuy it. Scaling gear. Fending. Yeah, I thought I had it stored on her. Guess I do. Shire. Oh yeah, I turned it in. It's the Shire gear. I remember now. I turned it all in. Well, that's good to hear, man. I know what I'll do. I will. Send her on like a... Ooh. Like just a short one. And then I'll go do some dungeons. Yeah. Get a bunch of poetics. And then I'll go buy the Shire gear for my main retainer. Hey, Warlord! How's it going, man? Yeah, we'll just do a few. There we go. Let's start with this. Yeah. We'll start the day off with the main scenario roulette. That'll get me 300 poetics, and then I can go get Shire gear from Idleshire. What do you got going on in game? Sino is spamming dungeons. He's level grinding. What are you doing, Warlord? All right, on. There you go. It's multitasking. It's always good. Yeah, sure. Hey, Warlord, can you hear me? Good, how you doing? I know, man. What time did you go to bed last night? Hmm. Yeah, mine too. What are you thinking about? Oh. Drought and what? Oh, yeah. There's always new characters to level. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, well, there's a lot of information you really don't need. You know, like for example, like the chat log, like even that, like I don't even really need that. Yeah. Well, and you know, like the mini map too. You don't really need the mini map. The only time you need the mini map is when you're gathering, or like if you really want to be able to track quests. You know. But even then, like I've gone through and I already know where all the quests are. You know, if you pay attention to what the characters are saying, they'll tell you the location. You know, they're usually pretty spot on. Yeah, they'll tell you whereabouts you need to go. You know, and you can kind of discern where it is from there. You know, and it makes it a little more fun because it like turns it into like an Easter egg hunt. You know, an Easter egg hunt isn't really fun without an Easter egg hunt isn't really fun if you have like a radar detector. You know, like it's like you're not really hunting anymore. But like if you're told by a character to go here and you just follow their instructions, it's much more like you're actually looking for a person in a location rather than just following directions on a list. You know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I don't know. Like there's just a lot of people that don't like self-impose things on them on themselves, and a lot of people assume that you need all of the information. You know, like a lot of the like good UIs that I see, like oh this is my UI. The only thing they did was rearrange it. You know, they didn't delete anything. You know, they just kind of like pushed things to the center, or they push things all in one corner or something like that. But it's like, you know, like there's a lot of information you don't even need at all. Like especially during Savage Raid fights, you don't need the minimap ever. Yeah, you don't. So the minimap most of the time is a waste of space. And like also the quest log, you know, like most of the time you know what you're doing. The only time you need the quest log up is if you're doing a quest, you know. If you're just doing dailies or grinding or, you know, banging your head away against the next savage raid, your quest marker doesn't need to be up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bunch of like ex Final Fantasy 11 players would always say, "Oh, they missed this about 11. They missed this about 11." But when they actually go ahead and implement those things into a modern game, they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't miss it." Yeah, I haven't played Eureka, so I don't really have an opinion either way. But from what I've seen, it's like I see like, oh, you got to do this, this, and this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. You had to do that back in 11. And I know personally for me, like I didn't like any of those things, you know, about 11. So it's like I'm glad I'm able to play an MMO that doesn't have those things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we got planned on doing in game today. Right on. Yeah, because gathering gets you access to the materials that you need for crafting.
And then you gotta pay any deal for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say people need to craft inventory a lot of stuff they don't.
Yep.
Especially if it's people who want. Not a good point I haven't used it, nothing to do, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's
There's
all there is.
there's way there's way a lot to do. there's there's plenty to do in this game.
That's
I think that's one of the issues with WoW is that like their in-game raids are larger, so a lot of people kind of use that as the baseline. You know, instead of just having four bosses like the current raid tiers do. I guess WoW has a lot more. I don't know how much more, but they have a lot more.
that's all they work on is like the rate.
Mm.
They don't have not really on it. They don't have to be done. They had a couple here and there. The only fucking rate is they have their story. Here's a patch for 7 hours. Like, exactly 7. That's insane amount. I like this game patch. Usually it's 3 months. First, I like how the Razor set up this gun.
So I got to get good. If you get good, you don't have to spend all day.
I think Wild's rates are too big for me personally. I guess it's sometimes a positive for some people. I guess it's cost. It's not that I don't hate Wild, just ain't much fun to
I never played it, so I don't.
It's like the worst game ever. It's not like I don't know. I don't think you'd like it. I could be wrong, bro.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion either way, really. I've been asked a couple of times to go play WoW, but it doesn't appeal to me. It's too cartoony to me. Yeah, it's a little too. It feels like a Saturday morning cartoon to me.
Definitely agree. Yeah, my first fight wasn't really a fan. The only reason I like that Frank that was a dip that I was like, eh. Had like some guilt drama and shit. Like, oh my god.
Mm.
It kind of just like made me stop playing. I think maybe I might be a fan of that. A lot of chores you gotta do together. Or I can just play with it.
Yeah. Well, and people literally call their characters tunes too. You know, oh, this is my tune. Like, oh, it's because you're playing a cartoon. Now, granted, I wouldn't say 14's that far off. You know, like it.
I'd say it's more of a sort of a.
It doesn't seem as cartoony though. You know, it doesn't seem as animated. You know, and not animated in a good way. You know.
Kind of like the style. It's like got a little bit of realistic, but
Yeah.
art style though, where it looks unique.
Yeah, it's not quite like hyper realistic, but it's
Hyper realistic graphics kind of get boring.
yeah.
Kind of so used to seeing in like every game. It's nice to see something different.
It's an exaggerated realism, I guess. Yeah, one of the things I don't like about 14 is that they took the shoulder pads from WoW. I just thought that was just...
Yeah.
That's one of the things... That's the one of the things about WoW that I really don't like. It's just like, why is everybody a football player? You know, like this shit doesn't make sense, man.
Shoulders are bigger than her whole fucking chest.
Yeah.
Like, how could she even wear that shit?
Mm-hmm.
There's an orc I could understand, but a freaking human would get destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, yeah, that's one of the reasons I don't like Xenos' character design. That gear is just, yeah, the gear that he has is just way over the top. And it doesn't even really fit in with like the aesthetic of the Final Fantasy franchise. It looks like they tried to make a WoW villain, you know. It's like,
trying to make the Lich King kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're seeing music. It kind of acts similar in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I say he's a little more character Lich King, though. They're still in that vein where they want power and shit. Thank God they made Amid though. Let's make it different, fella. Whoever the story writer said, they need to keep her around. I think she already had been around for a while.
Her name's
The main scenario for a while.
Noriko Itsukawa, I think is her name. Yeah, she did the Dark.
Damn.
She did the Dark Knight questline.
He gives like women a good name. They're her.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think women or men, either gender can make a good story. They just gotta try.
Yep.
All I'm worried about is a good story. I don't give a shit who makes it.
Right. No, that's a very salient point. You know, I think stories end up losing a lot of their oomph when people are trying to... One of the problems with Western storytellers is they're always trying to push a narrative. You know, well, now I wouldn't say push a narrative. Push an agenda. That's what I meant to say. You're supposed to push a narrative. That's the point. That's the point in storytelling, is to push a narrative.
Yeah, like a narrative, like their politics.
Yeah, but like a political agenda is... That's like, women can write fine in the West, but a lot of times it's like they feel... I see a lot of these like big named women that feel like they have to inject their political bias into what it is they're writing, and it's like, that's not necessarily true. I mean, it's one thing to write what you know, like I get that, but you don't always have to, lean it towards how you want the world to be, Like, you should be creative enough to create a character that isn't as, closely related to reality, especially if you're making a fantasy game, a work of fiction. Yeah, I think a lot of the major plot points have already been written by Banri Oda, back when... So, like, they have access to, like, 8.0 right now. They have 8.0 written. It's just a matter of developing it. Yeah, well, I mean, back in 2.0, Yoshi P said he had up to 5.0 written. And that was during an interview back when 2.0 was like out for a year or something like that. So
8.0 would be 3 more expansions. Yeah,
well, 2.0 was three expansions. 5.0 was 3 expansions away from 2.0. And he said that he had the plot all written up to that point. And if you look at some of the things that were dropped, at the end of 2.0, they drop Omega. You know, they name drop Omega near the end of 2.0, and then at the end of 3.0, they drop Shinryu.
I just hope they can keep with the story. Cause eventually it's going to become a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? They could still pull it. As long as the stories are decent enough, that's all I care about. Not all of them have to be the best stories ever made. Just be good enough to be able.
In 5.0, this was mainly about Ardbert. You know, Ardbert was introduced in Heaven's Ward. That was 3.0. So they had all the stuff that was happening on the first. They had it already written in 3.0. And they were already referencing it in 3.0. Is what I meant to say. Mm-hmm.
Wow, I don't think you should put here. That's the problem. This game was built around here. This game should be here. And there's still those elements. Oh well. I don't agree. This has been a single player game, but I don't agree with that.
Probably next year, so, you know. I'm assuming because we were supposed to get an NA Fan Fest this year, but we had they had to cancel it because of COVID-19. But I'm assuming that development for the next expansion is still, it's probably not on track. It's probably delayed, but it'll probably come out. Usually they come out in like the summer. So it'll probably come out like maybe winter of next year, or maybe early the year after, in 2022. Yeah.
Hopefully it stays, it's bad enough.
Eorzea's unity is forged of falsehoods. Its city-states are built on deceit, and its faith is an instrument of deception.
Stuff about 5.4.
It is not but a cobweb of lies. To believe in Eorzea is to believe in nothing. In Eorzea, the beast tribes often summon gods to fight in their stead, though your comrades only rarely respond in kind. Which is strange, is it not? Are the 12 otherwise engaged? I was given to understand they were your protectors. If you truly believe them your guardians, why do you not repeat the trick that served you so well in Coeurlia and call them down? They will answer, so long as you lavish them with crystals and gorge them on ether.
I'm interested. I'm interested in Cyberpunk. I'm always excited for a new Final Fantasy expansion. But Cyberpunk, I was talking with my friend yesterday about Cyberpunk, and just like the level of customizability you have with the character creator, and we were just joking about how, like, I guess WoW in the next expansion is going to finally allow humans to be black people. Like, I guess, yeah, right. Like, it's like, wait a second, like, that's something you guys should have had in at release. Well, it already has. It already has that. You're able to create you could create a black guy. You could create a black human. I mean, I am a black human. My character's a black chick. You know, it's not hard. But yeah, for some reason, Blizzard thought it was appropriate to make references to other cultures, and then make those cultures basically monsters. You know, so you can't make a Native American in WoW. You would have to be the shaman or whatever, and it's those like cow people, and they have like tribal sort of like cultural characteristics, and like you can't make a Jamaican in WoW. You'd have to be a troll. You know, it's like what are you trying to say there? You know, like then who are orcs, right? Like what are orcs then? You know. Hmm. Oh, you can't be an Asian either. If you wanted to be an Asian character in WoW, you'd have to be a panda. Yeah. Yeah. Furries look like cartoon characters. The Makote in Final Fantasy XIV are just women with cat ears and a tail. You know, Hrothgar are a little closer to the furry. I could see a Hrothgar being considered a furry. But a lot of the furries that I see, they all kind of look the same. They all have this. They all look like mascots. They all look like Disney characters, like Disney animal Disney characters. They don't look like actual animals, you know, like at all. A lot of them are usually like they're like blue foxes and stuff like that. Like they're all these weird colors and stuff, and they don't actually look like the animal that they're pretending to be. They look like a cartoon version of the animal that they're pretending to be. Ooh, ooh.
The guys of them are they're not because they look. It's actually they look cool, not like it's actually attractive. That's how they were cool.
Yeah, and the Kote are just hot chicks with cat ears and a tail. You know, like that. That actually, my friend, like that's kind of what he has a problem with is that they're not animal enough, right? So like, yeah, like compare the Khajiit from Elder Scrolls to the Makote in Final Fantasy XIV. Like the Khajiit are like legit cat people. They're more cat than human. They're just cats that are bipedal. Yeah, a Hrothgar would be the closest thing I think to a Khajiit. But yeah, they're much more. They look a lot more like animals than they do people. It's just that like they stand upright. That's the only thing that kind of makes them people-like. And my friend's all into that. What he really liked was there's this race in Guild Wars, I think, that actually has reversed joints like animals do. And when it sprints, yeah, I think when they sprint, they actually go on all fours. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do go on all fours. Kind of
Mm-hmm. I always thought that was a neat idea. Yeah, I always thought that was a neat idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here in 14, race is barely statistically relevant. It's actually not like there's slight statistical differences between races, but I would barely call them. They're not relevant.
I guess it could be good or bad depending on the person, I guess.
Mm-hmm. The bigger difference is in between clans rather than races, you know, and they're kind of divided between, well, do you want to be a caster or do you want to be a frontline fighter? Yeah. They're not really divided specifically by job or anything like that. Yeah.
But the ultimate weapon is all powerful. Why does my enemy still stand? Can her strength truly
We'll see.
be so great?
It could still fall on your face.
It is the blessing of light that confounds you.
I am pretty curious what the next single
Your
player one
foe
is Final Fantasy.
acts under the protection of the
If we're going
crystal
back to
she
the medieval
bears.
roots, like straight medieval, I'm curious what that's gonna look like.
So, this is
I guess
what
it's
empowers
kind of
her.
medieval, but it's a mixture of a lot of things.
Beyond
I
mortal
don't mind. I like
limits.
sci-fi and or mid being
If
mixed
you
with
are to
that.
prevail, the hammer
don't
of
really see that in
darkness
this
must
game.
needs be brought to bear upon the shield of light.
Look how the Guardian Empire is really advanced. I actually like
And so
that.
it shall.
It actually
For the
makes it look
ultimate
like
weapon is host to a power of which
use
you are as
technology
yet
over like
ignorant.
actual power. I guess how they're I don't know.
Speak plainly,
Yeah, I'm pretty
Asian.
stupid with the lore of the Guardians.
The heart of Sabik. It is the weapon's core, an enigma whose surface even the vaunted scholars of ancient Alec failed to scratch. The magic within
Yeah, no.
has lain dormant for eons.
Of what magic do you speak?
A spell without parallel. Ultima. I sought the life force of the primals for no other reason but to quicken the core. For the true power of the Ultima weapon lies within its now beating heart.
Law Freya, what have you done?
No more than was necessary for my god to be reborn.
Damn you, Asian.
The hour is at hand. Behold but a sliver of my god's power. From the deepest pit of the seven hells
Yeah, I love this
to
knife.
the very pinnacle of the heavens, the world
Yeah, they did a good job.
unleash
Not like
Ultima!
being a wolf that never annoys you with its music usually.
Yeah,
Really,
music
it
is
annoys me this time, that's the only track really.
music is one of the stronger points of the Final Fantasy series.
I think music is a lot more than people think.
It's 50% of your
Like
experience.
the areas feel
A
cool.
lot of people discount sound.
Going along. Yeah, it is. Muted usually.
Mhm.
I cannot play a game full of music. You don't have to be like blaring in my ears.
Such
I have to really calm.
devastation! This was not my intention!
A lot of these MMO players, they always have a burden. You have to
Oh,
turn the damn
Heidelin.
audio off.
It seems the task
Yeah.
of keeping your champion alive has exhausted what strength you had left.
I like being immersed in the game, but it's not like I still want to be a video
Van
game.
Belzar.
Well, people treat video games as jobs, you know, like a lot of people listen to the radio at work and they do it so that like
To you.
because they're grinding, you know. and that's why they listen to music, you know. And so when you're doing that in an MMO, it's like maybe you shouldn't be playing, you know,
I must deal with you.
like it would make sense for me to be playing music right now because this is shit I've seen literally 1,000 times before, you know. So like, and if I just planned on grinding for the rest of the day, like it would make sense for me to just listen to music. But you know, I try my best not to do grindy activities, you know. Or if I do, like yeah, like if I do, it's a new thing, right? You know, like I'm not always grinding the same thing just to grind the same thing, you know. I try to grind different things and keep it.
I did Eureka. I just did a little bit, a couple hours a day, and just took a break when I got bored. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. I wasn't forcing myself to do it. I just did it because I actually thought it was fun. So I just got bored. I got never like behind. Behind me,
Well, and there's always time to catch up. You know, like when the next expansion launches, I could start a new character and then be up to snuff by the next patch, you know. And then once I catch up to the patch, then it's all about keeping it, you know, it's all about preventative maintenance from that point. It's really simple, yeah. Do what?
The subjects of a weak ruler must needs look to a higher power for providence, and their dependence comes at a cost to the realm. The misguided elevate the frail, and the frail lead the people astray. Unless a man of power wrests control, the cycle will never be broken. You of all people must see the
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
You who have the strength to rule.
And it makes a lot more sense too.
Everything over here, kind of how it works.
Pathetic. You boasted of unrivaled power. You were entrusted with the ultimate weapon, the ultimate magic. And still, you failed. So much for the glory of man. The growing imbalance afflicting the planet must be redressed. If it is permitted to worsen, the very laws of existence, both etheric and physical, will be warped beyond all recognition. Know you the root of this corruption? Hydaelyn. Like a parasite, she must be
So I think the
burned
biggest,
out
like, new
if
player
the
problem
planet
people
is to
do
recover.
So they just skip all the
And not
everything.
but the return of the
I don't know
one
if they like this
true
game, they don't like
god
story driven
will
games.
ensure her
Always
complete
tell me if you don't like story
excision.
driven, you might not like Final Fantasy. So it has good endings
Yet,
and
to
stuff.
pave the way for the Master's return,
narrative
a
game.
chaotic confluence of untold proportions
Yes, it's main.
must be brought about. And
That's its main draw, is the narrative.
Presence of the primals. Needless to say, both you and your scion accomplices
like, all they
cannot
have
be
is, like,
suffered to
story,
interfere in this endeavor.
I was appreciative more of
You will not leave this
I don't play
place
this game
alive.
better than I do with story, but I don't really blame for being that way. Story was there, but
It is past
not
time
the
the
line.
flame was extinguished.
That's the only
Bringer of light.
Star Wars or Republic has a good story. Everything else is all flat. I'm not really Star Wars. Oh, nice, you're out.
Yep. Done with the main scenario. Feeling really sleepy today.
I know that feeling kind of tired too.
Yeah, I stayed up way too late last night, and then I noticed it today. Usually you don't notice when you're sleep deprived, but I was like making so many small mistakes and at work today, and then like forgetting all these like little things, like, you know, oh, I forgot my binder in the car. Oh, I forgot my phone. You know, like I just like kept doing that. Oh, I counted that wrong. You know, stuff like that. I was like, wow, like I'm totally sleep deprived. This is exactly why this is happening right now. You know, like I didn't end up falling asleep last night till like 11 or 12, and I have to get up at 3.
Like 5 hours of sleep.
No, like 3, yeah.
I've been a little bit more thanks too, so I've been more tired. I'm going outside at least from front of my house. I'm trying to get used to using my wheelchair again because I don't really use it that much.
Ah.
I do use it, but not constantly. It's not the most comfortable thing.
Mm.
I need to get a new one, but the things are expensive as shit.
Yeah, weren't you saying they're like 50 grand?
Yeah. I feel like they're just ripping people off, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I've heard them things only cost maybe 5K to make, if that.
Yeah, well, because I'm thinking, like, cars don't even cost that, you know what I mean? You know, like, a car with an engine and 4 wheels, and it goes 120 miles per hour, and it's got a radio in it, you know, and, like, it doesn't even cost $50,000. You know, like, that's kind of... Like, I get it, it's a niche audience that would need a wheelchair like that, but... Fuck, man, 50 grand? It's ridiculous.
They expect the person to pay 50% of that.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why it is, right? Like, it's because they know that part of it's being funded by insurance. You know? If it wasn't, if they had to, like, legit just, like, sell that at that price, it would not be that expensive, guaranteed.
It'll probably be 5K, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's still expensive too, but I'd be okay with 5K. I don't know, I'll eventually get one. Work around it. I've been learning how to do things a little bit more than I used to. I don't know I have the brain power to do stuff, it's just being lazy. I think I don't really talk to people like all the time. Like at least voice twice. I'm not really a fan of texting, but I do it anyway. Or texting on which is something I don't mind it. It's not my favorite thing to do. It takes you forever to touch something out. I'll misspell things on accident.
Yeah. That's something that you can work on. It's like, it's not beyond your capability. You know? Just read more. You know, read more, educate yourself, practice writing, you know, like, that's where you should be, like, because of your condition, you probably should be proficient in those areas, you know. You should lean more towards those kinds of things, because that's more your... Exactly, it's more your wheelhouse, you know. Like, other people don't have the time to develop those skills because they have to use their body in their job, you know. But with you, like, you have nothing but time to develop those skills.
Be the most intelligent son of a bitch if I wanted.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I was the same way when I was your
I
age.
think a lot of,
Still am, kind of. Yeah.
like, once I figure out what I want, I think that's what
You need to just do things. Like, if I were to give you legit advice, because that's something that was a mentality that I had when I was your age. Like, oh, I got to figure out what I want to do. No, you kind of just need to do it. You like really just need to like just start doing it, right? So like for example, I've spent the last 10 years working, and I was talking about this before anyone was in my stream. I've spent the last 15 years doing shit, just going from job to job to job, just making money, and not even like making good money, just making money so that I could afford day-to-day stuff. I never developed my skills. I have plenty of experience, but I don't have any skills, you know? And I really need to... It's a personal problem of mine that I really need to fix. But, like, yet with you and your situation, like, you don't really have, you know, that looming, oh, I gotta pay rent this month, you know, constantly over your head ever since you were 18, you know. Oh, shit. Wasn't paying attention. Yeah. But yeah, that's good. But yeah, for me is I just never actually chose a path and did something, because that's the thing too. A lot of people, they'll like go to school for something and then they end up becoming proficient in something completely different. You know, they're still successful, you know, they still make plenty of money and they're still happy. They're just, life didn't go exactly how they thought it was going to go, you know. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, you know. So like, that's why I say, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're actually doing it, you know. And that's why I say, don't use this game as a form of escapism, you know. Like, escapism is bad, because that's what escapism does. Is it temporarily says you have no responsibilities, you know. Like, oh, I don't have to be responsible right now. It's like, no, you should want to be responsible, you know. You should want to be proud of being responsible. That should be a thing that you want to do. And there's an entire generation that's not, you know. There's an entire generation that's just doing this, and like, this is their life, you know. Yeah, and they don't, you know. Like, trust me, there are literally people that are probably envious of you in your condition because you get to do this all day. You know, as crazy as that sounds, there probably would be some people out there that would be like, dude, if I could just have some kind of like permanent handicap where I could just do this all day, I would do that, you know. That's good. You've been gaining weight? Good, good. You're a little quiet. And I know another guy, actually, unfortunately, and I don't want to be a downer, but he just recently passed from pneumonia, and he had your same condition. He had a similar voice to yours. He was a lot quieter, though. It was really hard to hear him sometimes. But yeah, I could tell you kind of labor more than normal to make your voice audible. Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be too. I mean, I don't know. I'm not you. I'm just trying to make correlations between another guy, yeah, that I know that has a similar condition. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good for you. I mean, don't stand out in it and don't stare directly at it, but vitamin D is definitely keeps disease away. That was kind of one of the problems with the quarantine, is everyone was told to stay in their house. And it's like, it's kind of bad advice. You know, I get social distancing, but you can social distance outside and still get your daily recommended value of vitamin D. You know, and so it was legit bad medical advice to tell people to stay inside in quarantine. Like, that was stupid. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people manage to be depressed even when they have money. You know? Mm-hmm. Part of it is just over exposure to dopamine, you know. They're constantly used to partying or having what they want, and to where it becomes there's like a numbing effect to it.
I'm kind of having to wait. I could be a drug addict, but I know
Mm-hmm.
maybe like I don't know. What's this person doing? Really, what happened? I don't really care. Whatever. I'm not even mad at the either. I never put anything bad on anybody. That's just a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's fault. I'm I don't like people really feel sorry for me. But I don't want them to feel sorry for me. It's not your fault. This happened. It's not like it's that bad how I'm lucky in a lot of ways. It could be a lot worse. Oh, I tried to tell Raz and Sharon they were wanting to feel sorry for me. I might have made it sound like that, but it wasn't that way. I heard he's been through a lot of rough shit too. Everybody has their problems though.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got their problems.
Need to get out. Like I need to get my damn teeth fixed a little bit. I have like one tooth that's cold. Anyways, only one tooth.
Yeah, I need to get my teeth fixed too. I need to get a job though, so I can afford it.
That's true. I heard they're expensive as hell to get your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
At least, especially where I live. I think it's all the same. It doesn't matter where you're from. Also, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, I like Tulsa.
He gets memed a lot, but you don't understand him.
Yeah,
He's kind of like me, 'cause
he's not that bad, right? His opinions aren't crazy, you know. Like he's got valid points for the reason why he thinks things. You know, I think a lot of times what'll happen is people, in terms of Tulsa, they'll focus on trying to make fun of him, and then they have to like commit to it. You know, they have to commit to the position that they've taken just to make fun of him, and it's like, you know, you don't have to commit. You could just say whatever, you know, like, oh yeah, he's got a good point, you know, like,
hey, Yuri keeps doing this shit all the time.
yeah.
I got annoyed by it.
Oh, why he just
Didn't look.
was he starting shit in chat?
Yeah. I had to lately, but it was like a month ago. He was kind of being a dick to him.
Oh, yeah,
Yuri's kind of a leftist. Like Yuri don't know what his side is. I don't know if you know any of what my side is really.
yeah. Tulsa's
Way to get bitched and cried at, no matter what side you're on.
Tulsa's literally right down the middle. He has reasons why he would want to be right, but he also has legit reasons as to why he would want to be left. You know, like he has a disability, not similar to yours, but like he does get government assistance for it, and he feels that he does need it, right? Like I don't think he does, but I also don't think that Like, I think that you might, but I think that also if you were to pursue intellectual pursuits and, pursue a career, that required mental, strenuous work, that you could afford all of the things that you need, um,
The goal eventually is to try to do that.
yeah. But a lot of folks that are in that position, I'm not gonna blame them for taking advantage of government programs in order to make things a little easier on them, And I think that that's where Tulsa is, right? Is like Tulsa grew up in the understanding that he needs that extra assistance from the government. All his entire school life was spent in special classes, and stuff like that. Yeah.
My dad was calls hell over there.
Hmm. Indeed. Yeah, like that. Like that's what I've actually found. Like some of the hardest times in my life, I was the happiest, and it was when I was struggling. Speaking of Tulsa, oh damn it! I always forget to pop my oath when going into lower level dungeons. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like that's where with like the reason why I left wasn't necessarily that Raz called Tulsa retarded. It was really just kind of the camel. It was the straw on the camel's back. It was just I was like you. I was just tired of them insulting Tulsa for having pretty much milquetoast opinions on things. Like he didn't have bad opinions on things, but like they just kept they kept isolating him. And then I found out that he did have a learning disability. He did have I forgot what it's called. Yeah, and then I was like, yeah, actually, you know what? Let's just fucking stop this because I'm tired of it. Tulsa had his own part of the Discord called "Help Tulsa Form an Opinion," and he never took that down. And I was just like, it's just, I don't know, you shouldn't single out a person from your audience, or like if you told the joke, let the joke die, and they don't ever want to let the joke die. Yeah. Indeed. Tulsa's messaging me about something. I forgot what. He said he can't message me in game for some reason. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Whoops. Nice, we got it. It could, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think maybe he left the FC. I don't know, because he should be able to talk to me through the FC. Galantis is it's Galantis' FC. Well, Raz didn't give it to him, but it's Galantis' FC. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I keep telling... Exactly, that's what I keep telling Galantis, like, dude, do with the FC what you want. It's yours. That's what I think too. You know, like you should have. Galantis should start inviting people and like making the FC what it should be. You know, Galantis obviously cares a lot more about the FC than Raz does. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, now that the game is as old as it is, like I keep telling people, like it's about pleasing the fans that you have and retaining them. You know, like sure you can do things to entice new players to come in, and you should be doing those things, but you shouldn't be drastically changing the core for an audience that was never willing to pay you in the first place. You know, like you shouldn't be trying to attract those people. You know. Like, you should be trying to retain the millions of people you already have. You know, a lot of the changes that they should be doing from here on out should be quality of life things. You know, all the little things that the community has been asking to do, like making glamours more simple. You know, just like other little things. Like, that's what they should be doing. You know, not trying to break the wheel. Mm-hmm. Ah, man. I thought I was lined up with that wall. Well, yeah, actually, I would say that that's kind of one of those things, right? That's one of those the community that already loves this game has been wanting stuff like that, you know. Really difficult 4-man content, but they haven't done that yet. Well, I think it's especially useful, especially once they the population starts dwindling, you know, and it's getting harder and harder to find people to play with. Right now, that's not really a problem, but once it starts to be like that, I think they should start implementing more serious 4-man content.
Like, stuff more they didn't even gotta make a new dungeon either, so you want the older one. Take one of the current another mode for it. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea. Wow. Why is it better? I can bring up a lot. If someone sees that another person, I want to play a while, just play a while.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You know, like I want it to do its own thing. What? What? Yeah, that's another reason why I don't watch it as much as I used to. Yeah. Well, and I'm not a WoW fan. You know, I didn't like. I think a lot of Raz's audience were people that were WoW refugees. So a lot of them are already kind of versed in WoW. Like I wasn't. That's not what attracted me to his content. You know, and then so now that he's playing WoW, like I have no reason to be there. Well, everybody's at a different part in their life, you know, like people react differently to different things at different times in their life. And Raz right now, here he has such a long experience with the MMO genre. Yeah, and he's kind of, I think he's admitted it, he's chasing that dragon, you know, of the feelings that he got when he was younger. And those aren't ever going to happen again, you know. And I think he knows it, you know. It's just like, but he keeps chasing. He keeps looking for what it is that got him so intrigued in the first place. And I think right now where he's at, and I think it's a legit path of inquiry, is he just wants to play with friends. And what he means by play with friends is play with the friends that got him here, you know? So like his old free company, Blacklist, you know? So he got back with those guys, and he's trying to figure stuff out with them. So like, I'm all for him trying to like if that helps him, if that helps him have fun, if he's starting to have fun again, then I'm all for it. You know, if that's what he wants to get out of it. But I honestly think that it's chasing a dragon because everyone changed. Like those people aren't new anymore. You know, those people have lives and they've been doing their own thing. You know, and the game has been around for a long time. The game is different. The people are different. The situation's different. You're different. You know, everything is different, and you have to be willing to flow with that. You know, and ride with that. All right, I gotta get back in touch with Tulsa because he kept messaging me about something. Well, let me message you in game. Oh. Oh, he just wanted me to invite a friend of his to the FC. Tulsa, man. You're on. You asked me a question. I responded on Steam and in game. Oh, yeah, Sino. I'm sorry, I missed that, Sino. I missed that last message. But yeah, I know I hardly have people to play with from time to time. Yeah, it's weird. Oh, you're still here. Good. I thought you might have left. Yeah, you know, it's like you get this group of friends, and then you kind of all go your own paths, you know. But that's the thing, you know. You got to keep rolling with it, you know. That was a big problem of mine going from high school into real life, you know. Was I just missed all the friends I had in high school. Yeah, I missed them too much, you know. Like I made really deep relationships, and I haven't made any really deep relationships after that. You know, I haven't really. I mean, I've had some girlfriends, but like none of them were as prominent as they were back when I was younger. And I guess that too is like I just committed to people a lot more. You know, I didn't. A lot of people just kind of got on with their lives. What's going on? Why is it constantly typing 3? And I just never kind of moved on with my life. You know, like for example, I had a couple. I played football in high school, and those guys were like my best friends, all of them. You know, all 22 players, and then we graduated, and all my best friends kind of just moved on with their lives, and I kind of never talked to them. Like, I rarely talk to them, even though we have Facebook, even though the world is still connected. You know, it's like I'm no longer a part of their lives, and they're no longer a part of my life. And it was just like, I don't know. I guess I felt kind of slighted, but I slighted them as well. You know, it was like a mutual slighting. God, what the hell? And what was I saying? Oh, I remember thinking to myself, like, I wouldn't. Part of me wanted to play college football, but another part of me didn't, because it wasn't necessarily the game of football that I found out. It wasn't necessarily the game of football that I liked. It was the camaraderie that the game provided, and that I had forged with the people that I'd met. You know, like, I didn't want, because that was the thing too. Like, my senior year, I went to go live with my dad, and he lived in a different school district. And I was like really afraid that I wasn't going to be able to. It wasn't that I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to play football, because I still would have been able to play football. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to play football with the boys I'd been playing football with for the last 3 years, you know. And I was like, that, like, the team was more than just a group of guys to go play football with, you know, like. They turned into something much deeper, at least to me, you know. And that's actually what MMOs do for me, right? MMOs sort of, they started to tap into that little bit of camaraderie that I had back when I played football in high school. It's not the same thing, but it's similar to an extent. And yeah, it was like this new thing that I could do, and it was a new way to socialize. But yeah, I mean, at first it was like that, and I think a lot of people feel that way when they find any sort of community online, you know, and they feel like they're a part of something, and they feel like, you know, like they're part of something greater than themselves or whatever. And I think the problem is that they end up getting lost in it, you know. They end up kind of losing their own personal identity, and again, they start retracing their steps and trying to get that feeling back that they had when they were kids. Because most adults, like, I forgot, like, they did a study, and I think they polled a bunch of children, and they asked, like, how many friends do you have? And they would count, like, legit close acquaintances. And when you're like high school age, I think it's high school age, you have the most friends. Even quote unquote losers have the most friends in high school when they're in their high school age, and it's around like 5 to 10 regular people, you know, and they can name them right off the top of their head. When you become an adult, those numbers dwindle significantly. You know, even if you're working in a job that requires you to be friends with people, you know what I mean? Like, it requires you to network and interact. Like, really, you're only hanging out with maybe 2 or 3. And then when you get into your 30s, it usually turns into 1 or 2. You know, a lot of times, men and women in their 30s, they're starting families, or they've already had families, and they just completely forego the entirety of the rest of the world, and their family becomes their world, you know. So then, if you're a couple, it goes from, oh yeah, we had a friend, to my wife is my friend, you know. Like, we all had this group that we used to hang out with that turns into my wife is my friend, or my husband is my friend, you know, or my husband's my best friend that I've spent the last 25 years with, or whatever.
A lot of marriages have been bad lately.
Well, it's because It's designed. It's designed to. The government doesn't. The government doesn't incentivize marriage as much as it incentivizes divorce, and it's painfully clear. You know.
I can take it towards society because there's some of which they're not married or have kids. I don't think you necessarily need that to be a successful person. There's nothing wrong with having kids, don't get me wrong, but I don't think you have to have them to be. Like, I want kids one day, but not like desperate. Like, oh, I need to go out and get laid now or anything, not like that. I joke around about it, but I actually don't care that much. A lot of times, you know, I fuck with Raz a lot. He thinks I'm serious, sometimes I fuck with him. I'm not gonna be a mean troll. I don't like being a dickhead troll. It says retarded shit. I don't do that. Sometimes I'll say stupid. Everybody's stupid when they're drunk. I do a lot of people say they get laid off, they get pussy off, that good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their thing that they think is important.
Usually people that brag are usually liars.
It's weird.
Oh, I got some food.
What'd you get?
Wings.
Right on.
I would join you, but I had to just eat. Oh, I didn't know you could keep multiple things at once.
Yeah.
There.
Yep, you can.
Some words I actually love the roulette system. I know a lot of people hate the down sync, but I think it's needed. I do wish it keeps some of your abilities, but I get why the down sync keeps some like older content relevant, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not as hard as originally, but still it's hard to. Still, not one shot. I hate one shot things so much. Obviously, open world took even one shot, but if you go into dungeons one shot, I think that'd be boring. It's like open world just counts as tough for whatever. That's very different, I guess. Even that, you don't technically one shot. Unless you're like level 80 on the like AR or something. Oh, he's having a new friend.
Yep. Tulsa had me invite him. What gathering job are you working on, Sino? Nice. What level are you? Right on. Did I queue? I did. We'll go fill up my water bottle. I'll be right back. Apologies for the fan noise. Yeah, it's fucking constant. There we go.
Not bad.
But yeah, it's too fucking hot. Hey, Jettison, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, it's probably way hotter over there than where you're at.
Like 90.
Mm-hmm.
87 actually.
Ugh, jeez, 87. I couldn't stand that.
Weather's high as shit here. Very cold in winter, but very hot.
Yeah. Now, a lot of the weather is over there. A lot of the weather is like that over there. It's like Michigan as well. It's like super cold weather,
Tornadoes too.
super hot weather. Yeah.
Like the tornado alley area.
Yep.
That would suck to live in that area.
Totally, I agree.
Get to worry about living in your damn house every year.
I know, right?
Buy us a company in your house.
Yeah, they do.
That would suck to return and fire.
Yep. Some, like there was New Orleans back when the levees broke during Hurricane Katrina. Wild. Yeah, you're located on the other side of the Cascades, right? You said you're in the eastern part. Where there aren't as many Antifa protests, I'm assuming. Yeah, where I live is Antifa's crazy.
Nice looking place, you're lovely. But everywhere you live, there's idiots, so it doesn't really matter.
Indeed, but it just kind of sucks that like the idiots are the ones in charge, and there's plenty of idiots that are willing to put them back into power. When they have other options. It's one of those states that's just it's not a swing state. It's one of those states that will always be blue. Because and it's the same with those red states too. Like they'll always be red. Yeah. It would be nice if more states were like I remember back in the day. That's how it was. I think it's just because more people voted. Either that or voting isn't actually real. Like it's not actually real. That's the only thing I can think of because like with how like there were so many like crazy landslides back in America's early history with the presidents. Like I remember, and it wasn't that long ago, but like there were some people that literally won the vote by like 70%, 80%. Ever since, I would say, at least in my time, like Bush, it's always never been anything over 60%. Yeah. I don't even think Bush Sr. won 60. I think it was like 55 or something like that. If even. I don't know. I have to look up. I don't remember specifically, but I remember, especially when I became politically active, like, the country's been voting at a difference of like 51%, 52%, Like, I think Obama got like 52 or 53% of the vote, and McCain's concession speech talked about how he handily won the election. I was like, he handily won the election by 2%. You know, like that wasn't an was that an overwhelming majority? I don't know. But yeah, I still thought it was a good concession speech, though. Like, it was what the country needed at the time. You know? It just kind of sucks that, like, I remember when he took office, we were thinking, all right, now, like, that milestone has been covered. Now that won't be such contentious issue anymore. You know, that won't be like a blight on the United States sort of internal thought process, right? Like, we're over that, just like we were over just like we were over, like, I thought we were over slavery, you know, but obviously it's not the case. Even though we are over slavery, which is it's yeah, you have a certain sect. You have a certain sect that wants to believe that, like, slavery still exists in the way that it did back when it did, and it's just insane. Yeah, I'm torn. I don't see a landslide, and the reason I don't see a landslide, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, the reason I don't see a landslide is because I think both sides are cheating, and that's why we're not seeing landslides anymore. You know, I do think that there is a different apparatus that has been controlling elections, probably ever since post Eisenhower. I think every election since Eisenhower has probably been fudged in some way. But that's just conspiratorial talk. I mean, I have no proof for it. It's just the meanderings of a standard clueless citizen, you know. Well, what sucks is, like, slavery is alive today. It's alive in two different ways. And it's not based on race. It's based literally on sex. Like, human trafficking is a nice way of saying it's a euphemism for sex slavery, you know. And it really sucks, but, like, you have to admit it. The United States and England and Australia are part of, like, the biggest, what you call, purchasers of said services, you know. And it's not legal. It's not legal in those states, yet they're the ones that are getting the most from it, right? It's it's kind of bothersome. And I'm sure Saudi Arabia and some of those rich oil nations are probably getting in on it as well. Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's that too, Jennison. Prison slavery. But it's not race. Well, and that's what the racial argument is it's like, oh, well, it's not race, but they just put all the black people in prison and they enslaved them from there, and so that they can call it equal opportunity racism or whatever. Yeah, yeah, tinfoil hat. Like, I mean, it's fine. I know. Like, that's where I'm at. Is like in this stage of my life, I'm willing to entertain conspiracy theories that have, like, a sort of logic to them, and that, like, makes sense. Like, for example, the conspiracy theories that I don't follow are all the politicians are lizard people. It's like, what? Like, because I've seen the evidence that they have for it, and it's not evidence. it's literally just, like, old broadcast television back when it was standard definition and not high definition. It's just static on the screen. And they're like, see, look at him. He's blinking with his his pupil, you know. He has like a vertical wink. And it's like no. A whole heap of jig shirt, exactly. Yep. And yeah, and I'll comfortably say that like a lot of what Alex Jones says is most certainly conspiracy theory. Again, because a lot of it's stuff that he doesn't like actually have sources for. But then it's really weird. Like, I'll get it. Like, it's really weird when he says something as crazy as like they're putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay. And it's like they are. Like, it's there's a different way of phrasing it, but yeah, it's something along the lines of there's a chemical that's getting put into the water that happens to affect like the frog's sex while it's still an egg or something like that, and so it like they're born a certain sex, but they're like they like have more estrogen or whatever frog estrogen is or whatever. It's something. It's much more scientific, and there is an explanation that isn't as simple as they're putting chemicals in the water to make the frogs gay. Oh yeah, the Epstein thing too. Yeah, and that's another one. That's another conspiracy theory where it's like that's one of the ones that made me like I'm okay with entertaining conspiracy theories, because I think it's more of a conspiracy theory to say that he did kill himself, right? Like that, it makes more sense that he did not kill himself, right? Like, you would have to be crazy and stupid to believe the official narrative, to the point that there are like legit politicians having hearings about how it's crazy that he did not, like, that he quote unquote killed himself. So it's like that one isn't necessarily a conspiracy theory. Oh yeah. I really hope she doesn't shoot herself in the back of the head 3 times. You're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah, exactly. You know, so yeah, it's another one of those things. Well, and again, that's tied. I'm glad you mentioned Epstein, because again, that's tied back into the whole human trafficking thing, the sexual slave trade. And like there is, like when you look into the logic of that, it actually does make sense. Like the idea is that you have certain political operatives that are becoming buddy with certain political leaders, and they're doing illegal things behind closed doors and recording it to use as blackmail later. All right. So, like, for example, a lot of people, and this is again conjecture, people say that Epstein he wasn't actually an investment banker, that he actually wasn't a genius. He wasn't this like sort of mathematical genius. What he actually was a CIA plant or a government plant who would befriend an international group of powerful people to then dig up dirt on them and have that in his back pocket to be able to make threats. Because he said things like he's known for saying things of that kind, right? Not necessarily that he was a government agent, but he has been known for saying, like, he doesn't invest in banks or stocks. He invests in, I forgot how he put it exactly, but it's something like how he owns people. And not how he, like, literally buys people, but, like, he owns people by becoming friends with them and then getting blackmail on them and then forcing them to do what he says. Like, that was basically his business plan. and that's why he was friends with so many powerful people. But there have been other people, some people like Eric Weinstein, who have like questioned the legitimacy of his story of being like this genius mathematician. Like it didn't add up, and that's coming from a genius mathematician. He's like, basically what he was saying was, as a genius mathematician, you don't seem like a genius mathematician. You sound nothing like a genius mathematician. So, yeah, the whole Epstein thing, well, and that too is like, when you look into it, there are other things that are known to not be conspiracies. You know, after certain information has come out. For example, what was it? Project. What's it called? I always forget it. MK Ultra. I always want to call it Ultra 64. It's not Ultra 64. It's called Project MK Ultra. It was a legit scientific government project that was looking into brainwashing. You know, and a lot of high-profile people were involved. And our government does employ the experiences of the private sector a lot. Like, here's another thing too, and this is not even a conspiracy theory. For example, how the military has so many private contractors. For example, Snowden, while he started out as a member in the army, he retired from the army and joined a private military organization to which he worked with. And it was through that private military organization that he was able to, and the access that he had to certain information, that he was able to leak the information that he did. Did you read or see any of the deposition of Maxwell? She was staying at a home and she claims a corporation owns it, and she didn't know who owned it. Just that a corporation did? That's interesting. I haven't seen... Are you talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? I haven't seen anything of her yet. All I know is that like they found her and that they're in custody of her. That is all the knowledge that I have in regards to Ghislaine Maxwell. And what's another thing that's weird too, which I think is also part of it, is you can't trust the media now. Like, with how they've dealt with Trump and how they've just dealt with politics in general. It's not just Trump either. Like, you're trying to tell me, when you look at like the Bernie rallies versus the Trump rallies, that Bernie voters just forgot to show up. All those people that, you know, busted their ass to go to a fucking stadium to cheer on an old man, an old socialist. All those people just did like, yeah, we did this thing and we went to these stadiums, but we didn't actually go out to vote. We didn't actually do that. You know, that's not what we did. You know, like that's, I'm calling bullshit on that. And so, you know, all those Bernie bros that were pissed off in 2016 have every reason to be just as pissed off in 2020 as well. You know, and they have double reason to be pissed off, right? Because not only did they not get their primary candidate, but then in 2016 they also didn't get their general campaign candidate either. You know, they're kind of just fucked twice by the system. First by the DNC, and then second by the Electoral College. I'm not saying that I was one of those people, but it would be easy to understand the mentality of someone who might have leaned that way. Yeah, probably. You know, there's a lot of companies that have names that don't actually do anything, you know. On a more personal level, like I've seen a lot of dudes, they'll just put everything under their wife's name instead of their business or their own name so that it can't be taxed, you know, or some shit like that. You know, it's the same idea with companies. You know, they're like it wasn't Walmart that purchased, you know, $2 billion in cocaine. It was small Vlart, you know, owned by the cousin of the founder of Walmart. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, totally. You know, like, well, you were in the military, weren't you, Jettison? So you like have like a direct, you have like a direct kind of sort of, and that's where I get all of my stories from. I get them from ex-military. You know, like my dad has his story. He was in the Air Force. I knew another guy who was around his age that was in the Air Force. He was my delivery assistant for a while. My former boss, who was a contractor for FedEx, he was in the military and he had his stories. I remember back in 2007, he was thinking about starting up a military group, a private military mercenary group to invade Africa, right? And I was like, why Africa? He's like, well, that's just where we've got stuff going on right now. And at the time, according to the news, that is not where we had stuff going on at the time. You know, like, we were deeply involved in the Middle East, right? We were deeply involved in Afghanistan. And then, lo and behold, 3 years later, I go to Starbucks and I see, you know, joint operation between the United States and the French and NATO are now invading Libya. You know, and then they took out Gaddafi. I was like, holy shit. My fucking ex-boss knew about it literally 3 years in advance. You know, he didn't name Libya, but he said Africa. You know, like, no, yeah, there's shit going down in northern Africa, and I'm thinking about, you know, quitting this whole FedEx thing and starting my own mercenary group to be a private. Well, because the contracts are huge, being a private military contractor. You know, so instead of being a FedEx contractor, he's going to be a private military contractor instead. You know, and again, that's what Snowden was. Snowden worked for a company that was a private military contractor. There's this dude I saw an interview, and he was former U.S. Air Force. And yeah, the reason why he left is like killing random people from afar on a screen got to him after a while. You know, like I think he was a drone pilot or something like that. Or no, he wasn't a drone pilot. He was the guy who would get information on targets. That was his role, and he did it as a private military contractor. But also in the interview, he said, "There's nothing that I was doing that a normal military person couldn't do." Right? It's just that the military that's what it does. Is it just hires private military contractors to do that kind of thing. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, why does the military do that? Like, why doesn't the military... You would think that the military would just want to save the money and do it itself because we're already funding it to crazy means. Well, what I've put together, and this is just my own, and it's not really a conspiracy theory, but it's something I don't necessarily have proof for. It's that the military prefers to use private military contractors because that does effectively enhance the economy, right? So now, like, we live in a post-militarized industrial complex war economy. Like, that just is what it is. We are in that. And there are a lot... So, like, when they say, you know, one of the big things was, you know, a pallet of $1 billion in cash just went missing in Afghanistan. I think it was Afghanistan. Just for no reason. And it's like, no, they knew what they were doing. You know, just like China would, just like China's been, what do you call, artificially controlling their, keeping their currency low. That's what the United States is doing. When you just lose billions of dollars in cash, that's exactly what you're trying to do. Your goal is to deflate the currency. Like that's what that was. That's what I'm convinced of. It wasn't just some accident, oh, we lost $1 billion. Because then the $1 billion would have been accounted for in some way. All of those things have serial numbers on them. And we would have found out where they went. You know? It's because that was not the goal. The goal was not to find out where they went. The goal was to, like, in my opinion, the goal was to, you know, affect the worth of the dollar. Because if you overprint money, it leads to way too much inflation. That was one of the things that currently I think it was Venezuela has a big problem with, and that was one of the things that Germany had a problem with after World War I. You know, it was worth more to burn a barrel of Deutschmarks than it was to actually spend it on food. Like that was, I remember that was like a famous comparison that they had made, that the Deutschmark had become so inflated. But yeah, I don't think the United States government is against any of these things, even though on paper they have to say that they are, you know. But that just it almost seems like if you could, why aren't you doing it? You know, like if you're not doing it, you're anti-American almost. You know, like it's like you're hoping that people, you know, have a deflated currency, and you're openly inviting economic disaster if you don't do those sorts of things, especially when your competition is, hey, I know Scheherazade. Yeah, so you were a grunt. I don't got much, but the open corruption. Yeah. No, my dad was kind of a grunt too. I don't want to repeat what he said, but yeah, like he was convinced that, you know, there's just like a lot of, it was like you were saying, corruption. You know, like if people knew that they were living next to a landfill and not a golf course, they would be extra angry, right? But since they put a nice sheet of grass over this trash, which is now seeping into the water, which is now seeping into the bedrock, and yeah. Why is the water poison? Huh? Is it because the military turned a dump into a golf course? No. Well, and when you think about that, like, why would the military turn a dump into a golf course, right? Well, it's because who wants to live next to a dump, right? No one. Who wants to live next to a golf course? Rich people. Rich people will pay an inflated price to live near a golf course. And then all of these really nice houses will go up. And lo and behold, look what fucking happened. The local economy just fucking boomed because all these fucking rich people are here, right? Like, that's... Why would you make a dump when you could make a golf course? What's that? Oh yeah, no problem, dude. No problem, dude. Have a good one. Yeah, sure. That's all right, man. You have a good one. And thanks for chatting with me. Cool. But yeah, you know, like it doesn't make financial sense to not, like, it's almost like ¿por qué? Like, should we make this a dump? Should we make this a dump, or should we make it a golf course? And then some genius in the military was, "Por qué no los dos, mi amigos?" It was like that little girl from the Taco Bell commercials. "Por qué no los dos?" Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, why not? Why not have the best of both worlds? Get rid of all the trash, inflate the local economy. Bada bing, bada boom, done. You know. And then when you start thinking about things like that, you know, like for example, I have a lot of my own like 9/11 quote unquote conspiracy theories that don't really add up to, like, none of it involves shifty behavior, right? Like, I don't, like, for example, I'm not a believer, like, I don't hardcore believe that 9/11 was just the government finally pulling off Operation Norwood. I don't believe that. Like, that's not what I think happened. It might have happened, I don't know, but that's not what I think happened. But what I do think happened is, like, I do think that planes were shot down. You know, I don't think that the plane, specifically in Pennsylvania, just disappeared. You know, like because there would be wreckage, and there would be a lot of it, and we've seen it. You know, I think the plane in Pennsylvania was shot down, and the reason why the story is that it wasn't shot down is like, so now look at the story that you get, right? We got the story that there were a bunch of passengers that decided to mutiny against the person who had commandeered the airplane, and then that they rushed the cockpit and died in the attempt, right? So you got this really convenient hero story, right? And now those men are made heroes. I think they're all men. Those men are now made heroes, right? Now look at the alternative story. If you were to tell what I think is the truth, right? They were shot down. They realized that there was an invasion of United States airspace, that terrorists had commandeered a commercial flight and was not responding to radio. And upon the third time they tried to hail them and they did not get a response, they shot the plane down. Right? In terms of protocol, that's actually what should happen. Right? And I remember reading the 9/11 report, like it had outlined that, right? It was like, if this situation had happened, what would you do? And that was the situation. It's like, if they did not respond after 3 times, we'd have to shoot it down. And it's like, well, was it shot down? No, actually, it was not shut down. I just noticed that it started plummeting and it started, descending rapidly. And so I decided not to shoot it. Sure thing, bro. Cool story. Yeah. And that fits more the narrative, because I remember when the 9/11 Commission report came out, politicians and everyone was saying, this commission answers nothing. In fact, it only brings up more questions. We formed this 9/11 Commission to try to get answers, but now we've just opened up a whole slew of more questions as to why things were being run the way that they were. And so, like, even officially, the 9/11 official story doesn't make sense to the officials. So, like all things that's what it is. Like, we'll probably find out in 50 years, like, oh yeah, it was shut down. But at the time, and I could totally see that being very demoralizing, But from an objective perspective, I would have been like, well, yeah, like, the pilot who scrambled would have had to have done that. Like, that's their job. If someone commandeers a commercial airplane and is intending on using it in a terroristic act, that is what should happen. It should be shot down. Or what happens is the Twin Towers. And yeah, like I've heard conspiracy theories about like people taking out like an insurance claim on the Twin Towers like literally the day before. I mean, I don't follow it, you know. I don't. Again, like I said, I'll entertain it. I'll look into it, and if it adds up, I'll be like, okay, like I'll hold that in my back pocket, right? Like I'll be like, that's a thing that I'll keep in mind, right? But I don't say that like this is the truth and that is the story. And I think that's what like commentators like David Icke and Alex Jones do, right? Is they get an inkling of a story that might make sense, and then they go with like that is the truth, that is what happened, you know. And then I guess what the worst part of it is, though, right, is that these mainstream media guys, they're doing the same thing, right? So now, like you were saying earlier, you know, like you're expecting a landslide, and I'm not expecting a landslide, but it's not that because I don't think that the United States is leaning heavy in one direction. It's because I do think that it is. I do think it's corrupt, and there's no way we'll ever really be able to find out because the sources that we have been compromised. You cannot trust CNN. You cannot trust CBS. You cannot trust MSNBC. You cannot trust Fox News. You cannot trust any mainstream media news source at all. At all. When, like, especially, I guess the really big one for me, like, I'd stopped watching news a long time ago, but what made me almost become anti-journalist was, one, Gamergate, and two, what they did to that Catholic group, the Catholic school group. I forgot what his name was, but they made it look like that they were screaming MAGA at this Native American and like cajoling him and making fun of him, when it was literally the opposite. And in the same area, there were a bunch of Black Hebrew Israelites that were like actually throwing out tons of racist rhetoric. The only people that weren't throwing out racist rhetoric or being shifty in any way was the Catholic school group. And these guys were kids. You know, it's not like these kids were 20, 23. It's not like they were in college. You know, it's not like they're even old enough to vote. But they became like this media narrative, this blatant media narrative that of the douchebag white Trump kid, right? And then you had people like calling for his head, you know, and they took that picture of him smirking, quote unquote, smirking, when that wasn't the context at all. The kid was nervous as fuck and he had no idea what to do other than smile at the Native American who was approaching him. It would that just like I completely lost all faith in specifically CNN, but the news media in general after that, because then I started seeing how like Trump is literally Satan, and that he can't do anything good, and it's completely impossible. And then and again, I started looking into how the mainstream media was twisting his words and the context constantly, like to the point where it's like I'm not sure. Like, I'm going to have to go back through all of the stories that I've read that I thought were true and, like, re-examine them and think, is that really what happened? You know, because I can't trust the media at all anymore. You know, it's so in the tank, you know? Like, when you've got cops busting quarantine protesters, but they're not busting Black Lives Matter protesters based on COVID-19 infection rates. Does your political ideology spread the virus or no? You know, like it's just so frustrating. And so like obviously I'm not silent right now, but I'm just remaining silent. You know, I see all of these like, hey, take this census form. Hey, take this take this survey to see who you're going to vote for. We're gonna try to like, hey, will you take this poll? Nope. I'm not telling you anything. I'm gonna let you dumb motherfuckers be surprised again. And I'm really hoping that there are millions. I'm really hoping that there are tons of millions of people like me that are doing the exact same thing. That are just saying, no, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm gonna play video games, I'm gonna eat pizza, and I'm gonna vote for who you don't want me to vote for. And I'm not gonna tell you who I'm gonna vote for either. You're just gonna be surprised. Deal with it, But we're in a day and age where you can't trust the narrative of the narrative of the narrative. So whatever happens politically on the larger scale, like you can't claim that someone cheated, but then you can't defer to the news media about their take on if cheating had occurred or not. So you just, unless you were there and saw it yourself, you can't say. You could speculate, but that's all you have. You're speaking of the Electoral College, not the popular vote. I watch the news, but I try and keep it with a bias in mind. Yeah, I do. Well, I used to, right? I used to watch the news and try to keep the bias in mind, but it was after Covington. That's what it's called, the Covington Catholic case, where I don't watch the news anymore. I won't say watch the news. I don't watch the mainstream media anymore, right? But this is what's weird is I still get what's going on through the mainstream media because I watch YouTube sources, and those YouTube sources source mainstream sources. So like I still get what's going on. It's just filtered through, And I'm seriously reconsidering even doing that because I used to be a news hound in my early 20s, and I started to notice how depressed it was making me, and how worried it was, and how distracting it was to my life. And like now, I think I'm doing it again, but instead of with mainstream sources, I'm doing it with random people on YouTube. So it's almost worse. But I missed that one thing that you said. They lied to Americans over the effectiveness of masks so they could get enough for first responders. Your theory is just as likely. Yeah, exactly. Right? So it's like you could put two and two together and it makes practical sense, right? Like that concept of, right? Because you live in a free society, right? You can't straight up tell consumers, hey, don't buy masks when it actually looks like you should buy masks, right? It's like, because that, like, it would make more sense to make sure that the doctors had the masks, because the doctors have to take care of the patients who have the disease. And if doctors start dying, then there won't be any people to take care of the patients who get the disease, right? So it's like they're on the priority, right? So from a logistics standpoint, it makes sense, right? Like, give the masks to the doctors and tell the people to social distance. Like that I think is a strategy that makes sense. But now, especially now, like, I think the problem with telling people to wear a mask is because it's not an N95 mask or whatever mask is necessary to stop the spread. They're just saying have a mask on, right? Me, for example, I don't actually have a mask that stops anything. I literally got the opposite of that. I got a mask that you wear for skiing, right? It's supposed to be it doesn't fog up. It's really thin, and it helps you breathe really well, right? That's the mask I got. That's not stopping anything. And I'm not the only American who got masks like that, right? But that's the thing, is it's like we're in this situation where we're all wearing masks, but we all know that it's not stopping anything. It doesn't make sense, but it's giving people a sense of mind. It's giving people a peace of mind. Like, oh, everyone's wearing masks, so I'm extra protected from the virus. No, you're not. And I guess that's my worry too, right? And so it's like, for example, you know, if I told you to go wait around in a tub of shit, you wouldn't do it. Or if you did, you would make sure, damn well sure, that you were super clean afterwards, right? So that you wouldn't contract any disease. But if I were to told you, hey, I'm going to spray you with this hydrophobic spray, and what it's going to do is it's going to keep you from ever having any of this like shit ever getting on you. So therefore, you won't even have to worry about, like, I'll still recommend that you should go take a shower afterwards, but like there will be people that'll be like, nah, put the hydrophobic stuff on. So I mean, I got stuff to do. I'll just take a shower later. You know, it's like that's kind of what's going on with the masks right now, right? Is you've got people like, oh, yeah, no, it's cool. I can go out in public. I don't really have to worry about social distancing so much because I have a mask on. You know, so like I'm just not going to get it. You know, and so they're still coughing and they're still sneezing without covering their face, right? Because they have a mask on, as if that's doing anything, but it's not doing anything, right? Because it's not an N95 mask, right? Which is funny, because if they were to have just coughed or sneezed into their elbow or covered their mouth with both hands, right, they would have stopped the spread of the virus significantly more than if they were to just sneezed into their mask, which is what they're doing, you know, which is very well what people could be doing, right? So the mask gives a false sense of security that shouldn't be there, you know, and couple that with the suggestion that people should quarantine inside their homes. Just because you don't go to work doesn't mean you should stay inside, right? You need that, like I was telling Warlord earlier, like you need that vitamin D, you know, in order to keep your immune system healthy and functioning correctly. So like why? So that was bad advice, you know, and those were all from official sources, you know, and it doesn't take a genius to figure this stuff out, you know, like, or to figure this stuff out in real time. But you do have a lot of people, and I don't want to say which type of people, but you have a lot of people that are just like, oh, well, that's what the authorities say, so that's what we have to do. Or that's what the authorities say, so they are right. And it's like, oh, but the authorities are what taught you. And the authorities taught you that this is how it actually works. And now they're saying something different. Like, you have to use the logic that you've learned that the supposed authorities gave you, right? Like, the same authorities told you how the germ theory of disease works and how the spread works. And now the same authorities are giving you a different story, and you're thinking things are okay when they're not. All I know is I wouldn't want to be president with the shit show problems. Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm heading off to play some games as well. All right, cool, dude. I'll sorry for talking your ear off, but like you, I could talk about it all day. And I might poke you about conspiracy theories on your stream before I head off to sleep. Depending on who's on, I might raid you, I might host you, or I might host a buddy of mine, another friend of mine that's been streaming lately. But if he's not on, I'll definitely Either way, I'm going to stop by your stream and see what's up. Oh, did I already capped last week? All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'll catch you. I'll see you around. Oh, I'm so tired. You know, I actually might pack it up, to be honest. It's Tuesday. Or no, it's Wednesday. The day after reset. I don't really have to cap or anything. I don't have to do all those other dailies. Poetics. I still have Poetics. That's what I wanted to buy stuff for my retainer. That's what I was doing. Got the pants, and now we need the Chris's boots. Yeah, there we go. Still need more poetics. Seno Glanters. Hello there. You missed a whole, or I don't know. Maybe you were lurking, but you missed my whole conspiracy 9/11 rant. You missed out, man. 9/11, Jeffrey Epstein, Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell. What else did we talk about? Sino was there. He's wide awake now. Talked about, I think that was it. 9/11, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Trump, masks, COVID-19. Dun dun dun. Media distrust. You missed it. You missed it. Oh. That's right. I can access my retainers from here, right? Yeah. There's a retainer bell over there. I don't have to go all the way to Olda. Alright, so good news, Galantis. That true built the portable building company called me back. Well, they didn't call me back, but they emailed me and they said they're still looking to fill the position. And then they asked me when I'd be available if they decided to go ahead with the hiring process. I was like, I told them the same thing I told them last time. Once you hire me, I can give my 2 weeks notice. I need you to say, hey, we would like to hire you. I'm not going to quit my job for you to be like, oh, we'll find somebody else. It's like, I'm already poor as is, man. I can't lose the money that I'm already making. I need you to say that we would like to move forward with the hiring process. And if you could be available in 2 weeks and give your current employer 2 weeks notice, we would like to have you on. That's how the English language works. There it is. Yeah. But it does seem like they're still interested, so at least they haven't filled the position yet, so yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. Plus, I had another interview with FedEx, but this was FedEx Express. So I'm gonna try to work. So instead of ground, for some reason, I'm just blocked from ground. I can't work for ground anymore for some reason. But so I'm doing my bread job right now, which is going really well, actually. And my current boss just said, hey, you're good with cars, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, how about this? When you're a delivery driver, I'm going to pay you your cheap wage. But when you're doing maintenance on the trucks and stuff, how about I pay you $2 more an hour? Which is actually what I would like to get for my normal pay. But I think his hands are tied, right? Again, because the job, it's not very demanding, right? So it can't really command that kind of money, right? but that's kind of why I like it. It's super chill. I listen to the radio. I deliver bread, and I eat bread. Like it's super cool. Like I really like the job, and everyone's cool. Like the only downside to it is I have to get up at ass o'clock in the morning, but I've gotten used to that, you know. And it gives me plenty of daytime to go do other stuff, you know. But yeah, so what my boss wants me to do is he wants me to replace the back of the truck. There's like this mat that goes on the back of the truck, on the bed of the truck, and he wants me to replace that. He says, like, I'm gonna put you down under like maintenance service, so you're gonna be our driver for the south route and our maintenance guy. But when you're doing maintenance work, I need you to clock in under maintenance so that you get a higher wage. So that's a plus. Like I'm a month in, and I've already got a kind of a raise, you know. Yeah, don't do that. Give me some assurances here, exactly. That person bought my weapon. Oh wait, that's your retainer. Yeah, yeah, that's my retainer. You made the weapon. Yeah, you made it for me back in the day. She's still wearing her. She's like level 61 now. I forgot to re-equip her, and then I forgot that I turned in all my Shire gear for seals, so I had to use Poetics. I had to use this week's Poetics to re-equip her with the correct gear. Because, yeah, I forgot that I had sold it all. Or, not sold it, I'd traded it in. But I still need to get my right side done. That's only level 43. That's only level 50. So I need to pull... I think she has... I think you made me a level 60 thing? Yeah. I could have sworn I had like... Oh, that's... Yeah, that's right. It's like 1,000 tones. That's right. So I just... Oh, oops. I'm going to give her this temporarily. Until I get more poetics, so I can up her item level. Because I forgot you have to upgrade... You have to upgrade the gear too. With like the oils and the sands or whatever. There you go. I should hold her over for a bit. She should at least be able to do level 60 stuff now, right? Right. Yeah. Sudhorn. Chimera main? I'd rather have a Chimera main, to be honest. Yeah. We'll just do field exploration. I'm getting kind of tired anyways. What? Is there a 60 set you can buy from the recovery vendor? Oh. I didn't think about that. Yeah, let me go take a look. I think the problem is her right side. It's not her left side. So I think with the recovery vendor, I can only buy right side stuff? Or left side stuff? Is the recovery vendor here in town? I don't know. Or is it back in Olda? Because I think I only got Poetics. I don't think I got a relic. So I don't think I could give her a relic weapon that's like level 60. But we'll go take a look. I guess I was just like... I got a shit ton of Aetheryte tickets. I can always just teleport straight back here. Shouldn't be an issue. Oh, but that reminds me, I should probably get rid of my level 60 tank tome gear. So I gotta at least have something to turn in today. What do you got going on today, Galantis? Sano? Oh, Sano, are you still here? I think that's what I'm going to close. I'm going to close out the stream today with the COVID-19 song. Oh, what am I doing? I'm closer to the safe right now, anyways. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna play out your theme song because that's just been stuck in my head all day. And I know it's not really your theme song, but I'm calling it your theme song. Are you streaming? Are you gonna be streaming later? Like at around an hour? Maybe half hour? So I'm feeling kind of sleepy. I did not get much sleep last night, fellas. And I could totally tell earlier today because I was making so many mistakes at work. Like, oh shit. Because you don't feel it when you're awake, right? You're like, oh, I'm awake, I'm fine, I'm alert. Nope. You are sleep deprived, son. That's why you're making all these little mistakes. Made a ton of little mistakes. What am I doing over here? Oh yeah, vendor. He's over here. Cool, cool, cool. Oh wait, no, you didn't answer my second question. Moonfire. Other seasonal event items. Oh, maybe this dude. Item reclaim? Oh. Job specific. Level 50, level 60. DO dub. Outsider's circlet. Outsider's jacket. Dancer. Oh, this is Dancer and Gunbreaker stuff. Okay. But I can't buy. I guess I can't. Yep, no level 60 here. I can. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Oh, I think it's just quest gear. Yeah, Red Mage. But yeah. So because I unlocked Dancer and Gunbreaker, I could buy this if I needed to. I have that. I have those. I don't have the current one because it's like level 80. But yeah, I guess. Oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, I never bought. No, I got the Rising Suns. So why can't I buy the Rising Suns? What is this, Galantis? Why can't I buy the Rising Suns? I had them. Can you not buy them? Rising Suns were like the first relic step of the Heavensward thing. That's weird. It's weird that I could buy the Stormblood stuff, but I can't buy the Heavensward stuff. Yeah. I didn't know Blue Mage came with gear. Huh. That's neat. Oh, I know why, because I never opened the chest. It's still sitting on my chocobo, I think, actually. Now that I think about it. Oh, I didn't even think about it. I still have all these like chests in here. I might be able to use one of these. Hellfire. Yeah. Hellfire. That's level 60, right? Valor. Primal accessories. Shit, man. Yeah, I'll just use that. Primal accessories. Healing coffer. Yeah. Slaying. Slaying? Slaying. I'll do that. And we'll just... Yeah, we'll just... Hellfire. Oh, that's fending. Oh, fuck. Valor. Melee. Melee. Is that like level 50 gear? Or is that the level 60 AF? True blue, that's blue mage. White oak weapon. Required level 70. Yeah, all that's from Stormblood. I've never touched. It's good to know I haven't though. Soft steppers attire. Yeah, okay. Level 1, level 60. Oh yeah, that's a dancer. It's dancer only. Diarrhea armor of striking. Level 70. Shit. Level 70, 70, 70. 60! Ah! Gunbreaker. 78. This is all like Shadowbringer stuff. Yep. Alright, well, hopefully, at least I got the slaying accessories. Or do I need striking accessories? Because, like, yeah, that's right. Like, back in Heavensward, there were different ones, right? There was slaying and there was striking. And, like, Monk couldn't wear slaying. And Dragoon couldn't wear striking, right? Is that how that worked? Fuck it, we'll find out. Whatever. Whatever. So I was talking to Kiki and she was like, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Cause this is my United States of whatever. This is my United States of whatever. Alright, there it is. Primal accessories of slaying coffer. Yes. To material. No. Because that's not level 60. It's like level 70, I believe. Actually, I think it's level 80, actually. I don't know. Okay. Let's go see if that worked. Nope. Wrong button. There we go. Augmented primal earrings of slaying. Advanced building forbidden. Item level 240, which is good. It's up there. It's higher than what she has on right now. Yeah, and I could wear them. So if my monk can wear them, she can wear them because she's a monk. Cool. Hey, thanks for reminding me of that, Galantis. Not sure if it matters on retainers. You can equip them with crafting and gathering gear. All that matters is eye level. Yeah, yeah. The problem is my highest eye level stuff. Is actually it matters for gatherers and crafters. So like right now, I have a high eye level on one of my retainers, but because the eye level, like she doesn't have a high enough gathering stat to go out and get stuff. Like she could do the field exploration. She could do that all day long, but she can't do the higher level. She can't do her level of stuff because she doesn't have actual legit gathering gear on. But I think you're right when it comes to the retainers that have jobs. that have like fighting jobs. I think you're correct in this. Just like the only thing that actually matters is item level. Oh yeah, and the item level on that's like 290, so that's actually bringing her up more than she would normally be brought. Boom. 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 Oh, it only gave me one. Yeah, because it's unique untradeable. Assholes. Ring of healing. Ironworks ring of healing. Good news, though, I think, is that someone has a fending ring, I believe. So I could just put the fending ring on her. Yeah, she doesn't have it on hers. I think Marcellus has it. Yeah. Ring of fending. Oh, there we go. Portal. Yeah, I'll use this one. Ultimate ring. Oh! Oh, I've still got that one too. Cool. Actually, I'll just put both of these on for her. Because they're both higher than the Garuda ring. I think, at least. Yeah, it's only 240, so... And these are 270. Come on, 255. Yes! Nice. Alright, so now I can send her out on important stuff. Yeah, oh, she needed to be at least 235. No, she's 235. But I want to put her on field exploration. 20. 235. Assign. Cool. Sweet. Good to giz. Oh, you know what? I should have put her gear on first. And then glamored it. And then put it on her. Can I still do that? Even though she's... I can still wear the gear that I've given her, right? I think so. Because she's not another player. So it's not soul-bound to her. So we didn't make much progress today. Sorry, Galantis. I got distracted with trying to gear up my retainer. Bracelet, Deep Shadow. Bending. Oh, yeah, I didn't give her... Oh, because she has the Aetheryte ring on, and then she has the Shire ring and the Ultima ring. So I could turn these in. I think someone's hanging a portrait. A Fanny turban of aiming. Why do I have that? Oh, that's right. I did Alliance raid. Second subscribe. Half close of aiming. Wow. No one claimed any of that. That's cool. Boots of scouting. Oh. Oh, she's not a rogue. Valkyrie's choker offended. Could have put that stuff on her, I guess. It's pretty low level though. Shadow. Bending. Ironworks. Ironworks. Healing. Breaches of Light. Get rid of those. I'm always going to hold on to these because I remember that one day I tried to get them back and it literally took me 24 hours straight just to get that goddamn Battle Mage's robe. Like, I'll never get rid of those again. Ugh. We'll get it eventually. Yeah, we're getting close. We're getting close. Let's take a look. Oof. Where are we? Oh, it went up a little bit. Did you see that little beep? Oh, by the way, Galantis, I invited a new player today. Our FC is growing, or your FC is growing. New adventure, Kessel Endurance, friend of Tulsa. So you know, Tulsa's friend is playing, and that's their name. And they literally just installed the game like a couple of days ago. Right, so if you've got any advice for them or anything like that, yeah. Tulsa has friends. He's got friends. Just not in high places. They're in low places. I've got friends in low places where the risk is right. To the oasis, so I've got friends in low places. No, I should have been a singer instead of a streamer. Man, I'm super sleepy. Oh, look at that. Company action. Company action. Press the action button. Ugh. I might do something. Maybe I'll do these two. Maybe, just maybe. Yeah. It'd probably be best if I did. Still has no. Even though, well, they're super short. Well, what's that? That needed a DPS. Ooh, trials. Yeah, we'll do that. Monk. Trial. We'll do trial. Trials are short. Oh, what's my... Ooh. Ooh! I'm getting up there on Allegri. Kind of noticed that. Now, time flies when you're not paying attention to Allegri. It's like, how am I almost capped on Allegri? It's like, oh yeah, I've been logging in regularly. I could probably almost get my monk capped out. We got another 400. No, 310. So yeah, I won't cap out this week, but I'll be high enough. I still haven't purchased, or did I? Did I purchase the body piece? I didn't. I did. I'm just not wearing it. No, I didn't. Right. The goddamn maiming. Fuck. I can't even turn it in either, right? It doesn't let you turn it in because it's too high. Won't even let me turn it in for seals. Ah. So yeah, I guess I still haven't purchased the body. I could have sworn I did that though. I could have sworn I went and purchased the body piece earlier this week. Oh, you know what? I think I tried. That's it. I tried to, but I didn't have enough. I think that was the deal. I think that's what was going on. Might go do that, actually. No, because I remember my item level changing. Did I get the pants, maybe? Yeah, oh, that's right. It was the pants. Yeah, there we go. I just never glamored over them. I was like, why is my item level so low? Oh, I can get rid of those. Now that El Sande's not using them. I forgot about that. Or can I? Oh, yeah. It's Ironworks. I should be able to get rid of it. I should be able to turn it in for seals. Ravana, watch. Oh man, I thought it was Ravana for a second. It's just Titan. Game tripped me up. Oh, I like how he went to go hide up next to the tank. A lot of people don't do that, so the tank can't help. But that makes things go by a lot faster. Dude, why are people dying? It's only hard mode. Forgot I was a monk. Should have LB'd. Oh well. We will not do that. We'll give it to him. No, I'll give it to them. Monsieur de la Beau. Nah, fuck the French. Not really fuck the French. I like the French, but... Can't make your first name Monsieur. Just means you're Mister. He's turned his first name into a title. That is why he does not get the comps. Ah, feeling it. So feeling it right now. Just like super drowsy. I don't think I have a dungeon in me. Ugh. I can do the guild house though. I can at least do that. But I don't think I have it. House of Dead time! POTD. Do you get Poetics for Palace of the Dead? Because I have Palace of the Dead, but I haven't done it. I have it unlocked, but I haven't actually done it. Ooh, tricky. So tricky. Did they kill him? God damn it, you dumbasses. Don't kill them. Why isn't this one dying? What the fuck? There. Ugh. Ah, okay. Alrighty. I am feeling it, so I'm going to play us out. And like I told Sano, that we are going to play his theme song. Oh, come on, stupid. It finally time. There. I gotta put my keyboard back in this thing. Alright, thanks. Thanks, Sano. And here is your theme song. Have a good night, fellas. Sano. Good night, Glance. Good night, Seno. Good night, Cybern. Good night, Warlord. Stick around. So I'm going to raid somebody. You streaming, Seno? I only see Jettison on. Yeah, that's right. I'll raid Jettison. Oops. I did that wrong. Is it slash raid? There it is. Alright, I'm officially ending it.